Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Tuesday to you here with Bitcoin, double checking a few key factors. We're just going to double check this range bound activity, see if it's still safe, and if we should expect the price to go any further up or down. Anticipation here is pretty much the same. We are still in this range. This is a bullish, basically rectangle. A bullish rectangle essentially working itself into a channel, and then the likelihood of breaking up is greater because it derived from the bottom, right? So generally speaking, you're gonna see the price continue higher. If we do see the price pull back, keep in mind we got this strong 0.618, 0.65 golden pocket fib level. They're about 60.5. So 60.5 to 62.5 is the two proximate areas of consideration for entry on the long. That's if we even see that. We can see a lot of buying pressure here in this last hourly candle when the price action tried to sell pretty heavy when the market opened. So this all in combination with the fact that the altcoin market's looking pretty strong, Bitcoin dominance is fairly on the most part to the downside. This is a good sign for altcoins. Speaking of which too, we took some nice profits on Cardano, 45% and then 53% ICP. Those are trades from 2 weeks ago though, folks. So again, you got to recognize that swing trades are very beneficial in the long term, especially in the current market. So let's take a look here at Bitcoin and see what's going on. First things first, we want to look at liquidation here. We can kind of recognize that there's a lot of liquidation on the upside. You can see roughly, again, 64.8 upwards of 66,000. I counted all this up. This is just local liquidation here. There's probably about 10 to 20 billion in liquidation in the last week, right? So these are late shorts. We got some other concentrations here. We zoom out, we can kind of see that there's some pretty significant amounts here. This is tapering off a little bit. You got to keep in mind this is coming down a little bit. It was closer to about 80 billion. Now it's maybe in the 50 to 60 range. Okay. The key takeaway here is that we're seeing a lot more liquidation to the upside here. These are very low leverage short positions, upwards of 70,000. So some folks feel very safe taking a short with a stop loss in the 69 to 70K range. Okay. It's kind of what that's telling us. Now, does that tell us a lot? No, not exactly. What that tells us is mostly just the fact that there's a lot of support and resistance in certain ranges here. Specifically, there's a lot of resistance in the 65K mark. But that also helps us understand too that there's motivation for the price to move in that direction. Because I get the question a lot, hey, how does liquidation help? It gives you kind of a barometer of what's going on, kind of like where people are placing their positions. It doesn't necessarily tell you what direction the price is going to head. It's always different, but for the most part, the liquidation levels can work as magnets and the price will pull towards that. That's the general consensus. So 63,150 Bitcoin. Holding strong, doing fairly well in this range. You can see a lot of candle wicks, a lot of candlesticks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days now in this range. The longer we spend here, the more likely we are to increase. I know that seems counterintuitive, but the general consensus here is that this rectangle pattern is very, very strong, and these have a high tendency of breaking out. So if you look at I got this in our Discord here, bullish rectangle, they're almost 80% probability of breaking through. In other words, you retest that upper range 2 or 3 times, the price is more likely to break to the upside. Again, the reason why that happens is because it derived from the downside, there's more bullish momentum, and the bears are slowly losing control. That's really what it boils down to. You can only sell so much. You don't have anything left, you can't sell it, the price keeps going up because there's more buying pressure than selling pressure, okay? All right, so there's no guarantee on that, but that is a statistical probability. We're also honoring our ascending trend line here. We take a look at our SMAs. While the 200-day SMA is the only last SMA above the price action right now, we can see all others are working below the price to help hold as support ranges. We can also see here as well with RSI right there in that sweet spot between 50 and 70. We've been there for some time, ever since the 12th of September. So we've broken moderately bullish on the daily time frame since then. We can see stochastic is swinging down for the second time. That can carry more weight than the first, so we do got to be careful and keep our heads on straight and not just get too crazy with longs. But I would say I'm still more long biased than short bias, especially with altcoins right now. Okay, so keep that in mind. I think it's a little too early to just consider shorting the entire market, even though it does feel like the price is going to pull back. And it may very well pull back, right? But my speculation is if it does pull back, it'll probably bounce off this local fib level and or the local high, likely get a pivot right there at that point. Okay, so we've seen a lot of altcoins actually perform very similar there. When Bitcoin pulled back, we saw the same thing happen with them. So taking a look here at the 4-hour. Well, we want to double check and confirm we're still mostly bullish, but I wouldn't say that bullish is the right term for it. This is mostly just a consolidation phase, and there's not going to be a lot of signs here saying that, hey, we're awesome, we're super great. When you go range bound for a few days like we have been so far. It's mostly just an accumulation phase before the next leg up. That's where patterns and trends tend to be more beneficial than indicators in a lot of ways. Having said that, though, if we do take a look, we're still over 50 on the RSI. Stochastic's trying to swing down for the second time. MACD is still diverging, but the fact of the matter is here, MACD's been diverging for, 4 days now, and the price is going sideways. What does that tell you? It tells you that that oscillator is cooling off, and implying that when we have our next stochastic or MACD convergence here, it'll be probably likely a stronger one, and it will break out to the upside. Okay, so it's generally construed as a positive sign. TSI is still looking good as well as our trend strength indicator, letting us know the trend is still our friend. We can see here in the hourly, we can recognize that there's a couple of important things to recognize, and that there's a pretty strong amount of buying pressure at 63,000. In fact, that's also our macro point of control too. If you're not familiar, if you zoom out, you can kind of see here, 63K is that heavy concentration of volume. It's where everyone wants to buy Bitcoin right now. So we're seeing a massive amount of accumulation in this range, right at the macro point of control. That does imply the price is more likely to increase from here. Now you could argue that, hey, what happened last time? We were supposed to do the same thing. Well, the price just blasted straight through it and then blasted straight down through it. It's like when you don't spend a lot of time consolidating, you're more likely to find volatility. Granted, we'll see more volatility here because we are consolidating in a breakout type of standpoint. But for the most part here at this situation, accumulating at that local and macro point of control is a very good sign. So again, I really see that as mostly positive. I don't foresee Bitcoin honestly dropping too hard. If it does, I would say 60.5 or 62.5. There's even 61.5 as well as a previous fib level if you were to draw that out a little different here. But again, I like to have larger time frame fib levels pulled up just so we can kind of get better perspective on stronger trend lines and or support levels. So that's kind of what you see here. But once more, as per usual, I'll post our playout chart here on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. I'll get you an update on what's going on there. Future reference, it looks like this. If you're not familiar, I provide you with relevant, consistent information whenever possible. Anyways, having said that, Bitcoin is still looking in good shape. If we do see a drop from Bitcoin, I don't foresee it being a monumental retracement. It would have to be some type of fundamental catalyst to cause that, I feel. We have a tremendous amount of support at this point. I think 61 to 62K is the rough estimate for the bottom, if that even happens. Okay, so again, I think that's kind of where we're at here for the moment. We'll see. We'll keep our heads on straight this whole time, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks again so much for all the support, and obviously hitting that like button, commenting below if you get a chance. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.